Welcome back to season 1, episode 4 of Minihanedom. I have a very special guest today. We don't take any days off, unlike the guys across the street. You know, they need a vacation from a once a week show. Couldn't be me. Can't relate. I've got a special guest. You may know him from the Warden of the North, just the throat slash gift, probably one of my favorite gifts of all time. And you might have heard of him on Montante's World, but I have the one, the only, Mikey Mayhem, Miguel Montante here with me. How we doing?
Did not love the Mikey Mayhem that had some ties to it. I'm not related to Jay, praise God. But thank you for having me on. I didn't think this would be feasible a few weeks ago, but here we are.
Yeah, so let's nip that in the butt, and then we can get. So I got very upset at you. There was a bit of a Cold War. In hindsight, in the moment, I don't think I ever thought your intentions were malicious, but sometimes my brain is just broken. I get so mad. I can't even I can't convince myself not to be mad. So usually when that happens, I need to just step away from the situation, take a break. But normally I don't really care what anyone says about me if they're people I don't like. I'm not sensitive to the insults of strangers, but when someone I like or whose friendship I value does something I don't like, I'm very sensitive about it. Very, very sensitive. And in hindsight, probably overly sensitive about it. But, it is what it is.
It happens.
At the end of the day, you're just a funny guy, so I couldn't stay away that long. Over time, just my hatred kind of burns out, and we just start fresh. So
that's it. I appreciate. Can I just nip it in the butt and explain now that I have full hindsight of what happened?
Yeah,
the full quick stories. People like, what the fuck was that about? So you remember that one video when I was in West Virginia? Speaking of the gift, where I sent you a video of Nadu like saying something personally to you.
I think so. Yeah,
he's like, send this to VD. It was like him. He just made a joke. He's like, yo, what's this guy's idea? Like, what's this guy's deal? And I was like, it's funny. He came on. He told me his life story. It's like fucking wild. I was like, yo, he went to Miami. That's why he likes Miami. He's not like fake fans. Like his dad is this, that, the other. And so when he came on, it was actually my first day of COVID. So I was literally, and the only bad day, by the way. So it was my prognosis on COVID. One bad day, you're good at the rest. So I was just like staring at the clock, trying to get through. And he like brought you up and in passing said something like, oh, well, VDD, from what you told me, he's good or he's well off or something. And I was just like, all right, yeah. So the next morning, I release a show. I'm dying. At this point, I'm probably getting better. And I couldn't tell. I was like, is this shtick VD or is this actual VD? Are you like, you know what you're talking about? I was like, okay. Then you actually got madder and madder. I was like, wait. This is not shtick VD. And then I went back and played it and I got it. But by then, you were running too hot, so it was over. So we had a 4-month cool-off period.
Yeah, and fuck, my brain just doesn't work sometimes. I probably gave you the responsibility of things he said, and in my own head probably took it to in a context that it was never meant. But fuck, I don't know. Sometimes I just lose my shit, and I just need a little break.
It's all good. But, you're like, hey, like tell him like secrets, and it was like, it's funny. Like I chuckled myself 2 weeks later. I just found out that your name, that 2 weeks after you got mad at me, was not actually Dave. Like that's how much I knew about you. If I wanted to dox, like, oh, his name's not actually Dave.
Yeah, and I don't care about like doxing or anything. It's obviously the summer of blood. It's more to me just like
not yet. We're about to be there.
But yeah, about to be there. My perception of it was like, this is a dude I like, and he's buddying up to Nadu, and like from Nadu's comment, it made me think that you were just saying like, oh yeah, like he's just this rich kid that So
I can see that,
and that is like because I'm not embarrassed of my family or anything. Sometimes people try to guilt you into being embarrassed about your dad being successful, but I mean, my dad's the American dream. He's an immigrant, came to this country, started his own business, was very successful. But and to me, I don't think I, in most aspects, carry myself as like a rich kid. I don't think anyone would ever call me that unless I was open about it. So that's probably just why I get sensitive. And to all my haters, you can go ahead and talk about it all you want, because it really only insults really only bother me when they come from someone whose friendship I value. So
that's fair. That's fair. Right. The worst part, the last thing I was saying, the worst part during the Cold War was you'd have some really good comments, and we unfollowed each other, and I would go to like it, and it was like, fuck, I can't. I'd be seeing you like saying some like witty shit. It's like I would love to pile on and retweet this, but like I fucking can't.
Yeah, I started going through the same thing, and that's when I knew it was time to just tear down the wall and end the war. So
I'm glad we're here.
I'm glad we're here. It's good to be back. Let's start the show off in my traditional way. I know people love this. It really breaks their brains, but and it's actually a recommendation I had for you. You're kind of growing into this right wing, not a talking head, but you like to comment on things, on culture, society, current events from a right wing perspective, and in a funny way. I think people sometimes don't understand that you're pretty much always having fun, even when you're on your little rants. I mean, sometimes I'm sure you get annoyed, but you're not a lunatic, no matter what people say. But
Thank you.
that's neither here nor there. We're gonna take this little prayer real quick. You don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna say, then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Send me." Isaiah 6:8. That's the vibe of the show. Menors, Red, they're taking a week off. A wild move, in my opinion. I mean, the grind doesn't stop. Bill Belichick, no days off. You're cranking out content. How's it been, World? How's everything going?
So it's going good. I was doing like 2-3 shows a week for a little bit, which I guess in hindsight is a little crazy. This job I have right now, I'm just looking at my work phone. I know it's gonna fucking ring at some point. We can't answer it right now, but it's keeping me busy. So between my hour each way to work, I'm driving 10 hours a week and just working nonstop. I haven't been able to put out that many shows, which I think may be a good thing, because I found myself kind of a bit of a slog trying to put out stuff because you can only do so much. So it's going good. I mastered Audacity, no big deal. Took about a couple of days, but there we go. I can play clips, so John from Scranton is not needed. I gave him full reins to Montante's World. It's out there right now. Merch. I think the shirts cost $22.48 to make and ship, so we're charging $32.48. $10 goes to charity. I gave him instructions, but you give John anything, he just does whatever he wants. So I was like, "Hey, make these shirts." Like, "Yeah, I'll make a Montante's World mask." I was like, "Don't like that, John." But
that's the thing. He works for free, but he's gonna take a little bit of creative license.
Oh, so yeah. And the thing is, like you said, he works for free, so you can't be like, don't do that. You're like, all right, it just comes with the territory. But no, we're doing good. I'm gonna try to get some guests that are not directly related to the Minifan world. I tried to get what's that guy's name? Matt J.
Oh, Matt J. Oh yeah.
I DM'd him today to extend an olive branch. Kind of like how Nadu first came on. I was like, "Hey, bro, I think that was the worst tweet of all time. Can you come on and talk about it?"
Let's talk about that tweet real quick. So if you didn't see, I'm sure everybody saw by now, but so the former DEC, I didn't really understand it. He had a bad experience at Chipotle, I think is the overall thesis of it.
Traumatic.
But he goes on to say that, he called customer service and they handled the issue right away, but they were in a rush to get off the phone. So I was just like, what are you complaining about? It sounds like you got everything taken care of, but just such a weird, out of touch guy. I mean, what an interesting brain. A bizarre series of tweets.
I mean, missing, like when Big Cat's, famous for when people miss flights. Missing your flight could be that has, complications down the road. Now, if you had someone to pick you up, you have to tell them. You might have to book a hotel. I get that. For a $10 lunch, for you to go on there and go complain about it publicly is such a weird move, and it's a pathetic move. It's just I could not comprehend. And the fact that, put it this way, if some weirdo heard him complaining to his wife on the phone and released it, like, that'd be embarrassing. But he voluntarily put this out to the world. It's like, I can't. I honestly, I'll be thinking about this to the day I'm dead. I cannot believe some people, their brains are like that, especially given everything going on in the world. It's like, dude, this is what you're complaining about, you idiot.
Hopefully he's not back on the sauce. I'm getting a little bit of relapse vibes from that tweet, because if you're tweeting that, your brain's not in a good place. Very funny. I didn't know if it was like a joke I was missing, like there was some kind of reference, and then I just saw the comments and everybody was just shitting on him, and I was like, okay, that's a real tweet.
I saw, because I think the official Kirk Minihanedom show retweeted it, so someone retweeted it. So then it came across my I mean, I would love to talk to him about it and kind of walk through it, but yeah, that was something.
All right, we'll get into some show stuff. I've got some, per usual. I've got some gripes. I've got some certain things I want to highlight from the show this week. But I just want to start with getting your kind of stance on the status of the show. I thought Mike has been pretty good. He's had some bad moments this week talking about Carabas, which we'll get into later. But I've got a lot of problems with Chris on the show. But I know he's your boy, a Montante's World guest. But he kind of big timed you, huh?
Yeah, like I said, I do this thing where it's like almost like I'm sleepwalking when I'm talking, where my brain says what I'm actually what I really do think, but I don't want to verbalize it, and it just comes out in Montante's World. I've been shitting on him because I think the person that came on Montante's World, like episode 6 or whatever, he would not recognize the current famous Chris Klemmer. They're two totally different people, and I always like go over the top about it and like come off as a complete hater, which maybe I am actually. I don't know. I mean, how much movie talk can you listen to? And I've said this a zillion times, but at the end of the day, as Kirk says, what's the name of the show?
Kirk Minahan show.
So if he wants to talk about movies, and like he said, he loves movies and he loves it. He has a good time when Chris comes on. And guess what? We still listen. So I guess at the end of the day, I understand both sides. But for me, I've said this a gazillion times. I miss Steve being there because Dave will throw something. Hey, do you care about the war going on in Ukraine? It's war. Not good.
Yeah.
Next. Where Steve, like, not good. What do you mean? What about X, Y? And then he would fucking sucker him into talking about it. But instead, don't care. Hey, what are your favorite actresses of the 80s? Let's talk about it for 50 minutes. Like, wow, how are you guys doing this again?
Yeah, there is sometimes Kirk gets this energy where he's a little bit like too cool for everything. Like, oh, why would I talk to Tim Dillon? Oh, Shaq stinks. Anything that's popular, he's gonna kind of be a hipster and be like, oh, Joe Rogan's not talented and all this stuff. So he gets a little bit in that mood sometimes, and Dave will just never challenge him on it.
You're right.
Steve,
you're right.
Yeah, Steve would kind of steamroll him sometimes and just get into these rants. But for me, Chris, it's not even that they're talking about movies anymore. It's that they're talking about this fucking podcast. And I swear to God, I'm going to get arthritis in my thumb from just smashing the 30-second, because like there's times where I'll just like blast through 5 minutes. They're still talking, blast through another 5 minutes. And it's officially, in my eyes, become unlistenable to hear them talk about Chris's podcast. And it's like the way the balance of the show is right now. Mike kind of used to be the voice of the Minifans. Now Chris is. If he was a real Minifan and he cared about the listeners, he would self-select out of talking about his podcast any further, because it's just enough. It's too much. Sometimes I think it's a little bit of a crutch where they get in the mood of just like, oh, we know we can do 30 minutes on this.
It's a safe spot.
It's a safe spot, and it's but Kirk, like, he still kind of has kid gloves on with Chris. They will come off eventually, and it will not end well, because that's just how it goes on this show. And you can already see Kirk kind of starting to pin Mike and Chris against each other. Like when Mike was going to go on that Who Are These podcasts to shit on Chris. And he's just setting that up. I want to get them in studio and just have Kirk kind of really push them against each other, because that's really what he's good at. He's good at kind of pinning people against each other. And there is this thing with Chris where this is a very specific critique, but sometimes somebody can be too self-deprecating to where it comes off as like, not only that you're a pussy, but it's like when someone is so self-deprecating, it's almost like they don't actually believe what they're saying. It's like
they're trying to get out ahead of it to try to, you weaponize the people who are against you. It's like I agree with you.
Yeah. So there's just a little bit too much leaning in sometimes. My favorite shows are where people are getting neutered, getting their heads cut off. It's not going to happen every single show. It's just not possible, but everything just feels very safe there right now. And I don't think it'll last too long, but I don't know.
I don't see what's going to rattle that show right now. Like what's the thing that's going to rattle? I think they're on cruise control, and I think it's going to be that way. And like I said, I listen to every episode, so I'm coming off like critical or whatever. I'm going to be listening. I listen to like 3 podcasts, and that's always one of them. Yes. So I'm not even shitting on it. I just don't. What do you think would be the one that'd be rattle kind of the show up?
I don't know. I think eventually, as in the past, a switch will just flip in Kirk's head, and he'll decide I'm done with this guy, and then he'll just find something like, oh, you're making money off my audience, or, you know, it's not necessarily going to be something Chris does. It's going to be a switch that flips in Kirk's head. But maybe, like, you know, that caller said, this new, healthier Kirk isn't going to get to that place. That call made me a little bit sick, by the way. It's just weird call.
You know what it could be? I think it might rattle the show is Chris, which is completely understandable from my point. Like, if you're going to a live show, you want to have fun, you want to drink, whatever. Is maybe Chris getting that call up on stage and he's hammered and just he can smell the alcohol in his breath, and that'll just that could piss him off, and then that could be that within, you know, Kirk never goes back and looks at him the same way, which is totally like a weird thing to be mad at somebody, but I can just see something really small like that kind of irking him.
Do you think he's an alcoholic? Because it started as a joke, but, you know, I'm a man who's been to many Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and like one of the first things you always hear a new person say is like, I'm not an alcoholic. Like, I don't drink during the day. And it's like anybody.
I swear to God, that's my defense. I said that. I swear to God, I've said that 1,000 times. Like, I'll get home from work and I'll wait, like baseball season, I'll wait for first pitch to drink. So I probably am I am an alcoholic. Like, I have everything he said, I've said verbatim. So take that.
Like, there's the like, I don't drink during the day, or like, I don't drink hard liquor, I just drink beer and wine. You know, there's a list of normal little excuses that a lot of people have. But, you know, he does kind of have a booze bag personality, you know.
A little, his body build just is so unhealthy, which would make me lean into thinking he might be. I mean, he's like 6'2", but he's a bag of bones.
It's an absolute miracle he made it through COVID without dying. I mean, he looks like someone that would die if they got COVID.
I don't want to get into this, but he was vaccinated, so thank God. That's why he survived.
Thank God.
That was pro-vaccine. That was actually pro-vaccine, so we're good on that.
We're good on that. We're all pro-vaccine here. Definitely glad I got that. Yeah, I'll probably get another. It's weird. Like, they just lifted mask mandates in LA, and
thank you, Putin.
Thank you, Putin. Yeah, he clutched it.
Mm-hmm.
And I go in the grocery store now, and still like 90% of people are wearing masks and stuff. I'm still not sure a vax card to go eat inside a restaurant. It's been like that for so long. I haven't even tried, but maybe I have to give that a go. But yeah, I mean, the only good thing about the world war is that COVID is gone.
It's gonzo. Thank you, Vladimir. I appreciate that. And I'm telling you, the fact that what we just went through is going to be so, like, 10 years ago when you're like talking to people what happened, like, oh, it's for a few weeks, it wasn't that big of a deal. People are so stupid, and they're going to act like it just rarely happened. We'll see. I don't know. The whole thing's fucking absolutely insane. We're living in a simulation. You can't change my mind, but that's a whole different topic.
That is a whole different topic. Speaking of a whole different topic, some news that made me very happy, even though you could classify it as good news for Carabas, but to me, Carabas going to DraftKings, he's gone like a fart in the wind. I'm just glad he won't be on KMS anymore. And I do think, does the move make sense to you? Like, he's not a gambling guy. He was working at a gambling company. He never, like, very, very rarely would he do gambling content or have his own bets or anything. Like, in my eyes, DraftKings are doing what Sirius does, where they give someone a 2 to 3 year deal. They basically get your whole audience to sign up for their app, and then they kick you to the curb.
Yeah.
So they're basically just acquiring users.
A bait and switch.
Yeah, a bait and switch. Because, I mean, I'm not a baseball guy, so I don't really care about Carabas. Maybe he does good baseball stuff. Obviously, he has a lot of followers, but it just seems like a weird move to me for him to go to a gambling company when he doesn't really do gambling stuff.
Yeah, so if he tries to talk gambling, it will come off as inauthentic and annoying to actual gamblers, which are going to be a majority of people who listen to, you know, DraftKings content. So what I think, and I think they know that. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to have, you know, their gambling so-called experts talk about baseball and stuff with him, you know, in a kind of free-flowing motion. And I don't think he's really going to talk too much about gambling or whatnot. But like you said, he's going to bring the bait because he is if he was the face of baseball, you know, social media, it's him. So bring him in. Baseball's kind of always been like the ugly stepchild, where the fuck that expression is, of gambling. Like, baseball, you know, gambling's kind of boring. There's not really too much fun props. So they're going to have to, so it is there to be, you know, capitalized in. So maybe They see a market with baseball, so I get it. I don't know how much they paid him. I'm sure it's overinflated when you see the money getting thrown around.
I
In the
think
gambling
you
world,
probably gave him like $1 million. I think they gave him like $1 million.
I bet you guys. I bet you guys more than that. I mean, if Lebertard's fucking fat ass is getting that much money, and he's pretty much the voice of a sport online, I bet you I would not be. I would put this deal between $1.25 and $3 million a year. I think.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's $1 million a year for like a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. What some of those bigger gambling companies do, what I've seen them do with other people, is they obviously just feed you. Like they have a gambling stats department. They feed you stats to read, and then they have like their in-house gambling guys that come on.
Wacky guys.
So, yeah. I've seen like Coward has a guy like that. Another guy under the Coward umbrella who I listen to has a guy like that who comes in on Wednesdays and like gives all this stats and stuff. So I think you're probably right with that.
It'd be so awkward if he was like, I'm going to take the Athletics with Monet on the mound plus 145. Like, it would just be like, dude, like, what are you guys doing? It's like, nah. So I think to be out of their mind to do that. And I don't think he would do that. So we'll see. I think it makes, like I said, I think it makes sense for him. Probably. Well, we'll see. I mean, take it. If he got paid that much, then, how could he turn it down?
So what did you think about Portnoy not letting him take the, what is it, Section 9, Section 10? Section 10 podcast name with him? Because Kirk, on the show, Mike and Chris, maybe they were like a little bit kind of confused by it. And Kirk was at first. He kind of walked it back the next day. But what was your take on that?
I think Kirk was dead right. Mike and Chris were taking like a little kids aspect, like, oh, come on, you guys are friends. Listen, at the end of the day, if Portnoy wanted to fucking, go nuclear on him and fuck him, he could have, but he had loyalty, so he's going to take care of him personally. I'm sure if he ever wanted to come back, he would welcome back with open arms. But at the same time, you are going to a competitor. Like, if you do really good, you are inadvertently taking money out of my pocket. So, like, no, dude, you can't take it. Like, Kirk was dead right on that. Like, there's really no way around it. Like, you are going to a competitor, you're not going to sell snow cones like Justin.
Yeah,
like,
and loyalty really has nothing to do with it. And I think the first day Kirk had a couple bad takes on it, but then he came back the next show and kind of walked it all back and was like, it's business. As I think about it from business, I mean, as a business decision, like one of your biggest employees just got poached by a direct competitor. Like, what kind of precedent does that set if you let them go to DraftKings? Now, these guys would never leave. If DraftKings comes to Spittin' Chicklets and they're like, oh, we want to quadruple your money. And then, they're like, well, Dave gave Jared their podcast name. Like, we should get ours.
It sets a
really bad precedent. And
think about what you just said, though. Think about what you just said. Companies like DraftKings, they're poaching Barstool. How crazy is that? It's a compliment in a way, like they're not poaching these low hanging fruits of these major companies. No, they have their people being taken away from them. So they're good. I bet you, Jared has to understand that, right? He can't be that stupid. He has to understand that it's all part of the game. And as long as they're good personally, that door will always be open there for Jared. So I think it makes sense all around.
I hate him. I'm glad he's gone. But
I thought he was awful on the show.
Yeah. How much do you think? Because I'm sure Big Cat has like gotten offers from these places.
1,000%.
You got to hear everybody out. Like, how much do you, if there's people getting 100 million? I mean, Big Cat is maybe not quite in that territory, but I mean, he could be making.
No, I disagree. If Levertard, what
did Levertard get?
3 years, 4 years for 50 mil?
It would have to be PMT, not just Big Cat. Like,
I disagree, dude. No, highly. I disagree so much. What's his name? The guy with the glasses. PFT. PFT is along for the ride, and he's a great complimentary voice on that show. Big Cat. If Lebertard is worth 50 mil for 3 or 4 years, whatever that is, Big Cat's worth triple it. But Big Cat's worth 150 easy. Don't even in this overinflated market. Big Cat 1,000%. He is a tycoon in the gambling industry. Tycoon. Yeah. He is well worth. If DraftKings or FanDuel gave him 150, I wouldn't bat an eye. I think both sides got a good deal. No doubt about it.
Yeah. I see. I agree with you. He's clearly the talent in PMT, but I think for the podcast and to keep that brand going, I think it would be beneficial for him to have the other guys. He could do it alone, but
it wouldn't work. It wouldn't be the same without him at all.
It wouldn't
Without
be the
PFT,
same.
no, not at all.
Yeah. But you're
Not at
right.
all.
He is obviously. Do you think? Because obviously, why Big Cat stays is because he has equity and he can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Do you think there will be an adjustment for Jared, like working for a real corporation now that maybe isn't going to operate the same as Barstool, where like he's been doing whatever the fuck he wants for a long time now?
1,000%. Yeah, it's going to be a totally different environment. It's not going to be as relaxed. They may try to be relaxed like Barstool, but at the end of the day, they're way more corporate. It's going to be a culture shock. And, this is nothing against Jared personally. He seems like very maybe in touch with his feelings, and he comes across as sensitive sometimes. So I think I could see him being miserable working for like a true like professional workplace like DraftKings. And by the way, DraftKings is like all these companies are. And they're pumping in a shit ton of money, and they're probably losing a lot right now because right now it's like it's a cold war of these companies trying to take advantage of this fresh new thing, which these guys gambling. So they're pumping out money everywhere. So the company may have given this money, and they may have closed door meetings say, hey, this is what this is going to bring in. So if whatever he's doing doesn't bring it in, they might come down on his throat. Like only thing he got from Portnoy was maybe tweets, but they might have meetings with him behind closed and stress him out. So I don't know. It's a totally different ball game for Jared, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll hope it goes well for him. I'm glad he's off the show, but I hope it works out well for him.
I could see there being situations where they're like forcing guests on him or forcing segments on him where I think it will be a little bit of, and also I don't know, like he's a guy that likes to go at it with people on Twitter, call people pussies and stuff. I don't know
that may not
how much you can do that at DraftKings, but
you might see some deleted tweets. Yeah, we will.
End of the day, I wish him the best of luck. I'm just glad he's gone. Let's see. Wins. Yeah. I got some random Montante questions. I want to maybe I'll save those for later. I want to talk Cullinane. We talked a little bit about it earlier. We had Phil McCooch call in this week and basically give him the business about drops where and Dave he's the worst person at arguing in the world. Every word out of his mouth is just a shovel full of dirt over his shoulder. He's just digging himself deeper. He's like how headphone wires in your pockets, like they get so tangled. I don't even know how they're just sitting there. That's the Cullinane, just so tangled up. Just contradicting himself, backing down, flipping side. It's just a total shit show. And so Phil McCooch called in and was like, why don't you use drops? It's something that's come up on the show.
This was an unbelievable development
before. And he always has the excuse of just like, I don't know, there's a folder, I can't search them, radio, we have better technology. And it was always the thing of like, well, Steve, he wasn't amazing with the drops, but he was pretty good.
He learned it.
He would have them pretty quick. And so Phil calls in, kind of goes after Dave, and then seemingly overnight, like Cullinane becomes Davey Drops, and just the next show he's just firing him off, and it turns out that maybe he had just been ignoring how to like figure out a way to use drops because pretty much overnight it was a correction, maybe possibly an overcorrection. I think there will be a Goldilocks zone that he has to find where he's not overdoing it. But what are your thoughts on that? Is he a little bit lazy? Is he just stupid? Is he
I think he's more so set in his ways. Like he doesn't do drops and he doesn't feel comfortable doing drops. And it may be a little bit of a hassle to learn how to do drops. So we're not going to do drops. We'll do them, when we have to. But no, I mean, dude, that argument that when Phil called in, I say Phil, it's a normal thing. Phil, but when he called in, it was unbelievable because it's like, put it this way, the way Dave like talks through things. If I was ever in like an altercation with somebody and Dave like behind was like, yeah, Mike's right. I'd be like, yo, like, please pipe down. Like you're about to back me into a corner the way you are. He is just such an idiot. And they're like, he was like, yeah, but like Dave, you have like 3 hours of show. Like, couldn't you like learn how to do it? Oh, I don't know. I'm pulling clips. It's like, Dave, stop. You have time to figure this out. Oh, you have too many clips in a folder. You know what you have time to do in 3 hours, 3 times a week? Make a more compressed folder. Rename the files. Like this is not rocket science. And so the fact that he comes in, like you said, 12 hours later, and all of a sudden, he's the drop king. It's like, you're good, dude. Like, figure it out. I don't know. I like Cullinane, but just, I mean, Steve's obviously 1,000 times better, but that was a tough moment. Like, how do you? I don't know.
That's the thing.
It was wild.
I do like Cullinane, but
It was Banana Land.
It's wild. It's wild.
Banana Land.
Everybody says that, by the way. I could find clips of all.
I know, but Daver does say, like, Daver says it every 45 minutes, I'd say.
Just while we're on that real quick, did you, like, I've listened to a million Daver things. I've never thought he sounded like KFC. What do you think about that?
I don't think he sounds like KFC. I think he looks like a fucking absolute loser changing his Twitter handle to KFC Jr. I've said that to him. I said, what do I have to do to get you to change it back? It's a pathetic look. Pretend it never happened. But now that he mentioned it, like, I can hear it. But I never would have made that comparison before Kirk said it.
To me, they just both have like radio broadcasty voices. But like,
Daver's voice is unbelievable.
Yeah,
and he has a face for radio. Let me tell you.
Yeah, face for radio. That's for sure. But I know for a fact, like, Daver is not a guy that's listening to KFC. Like, I know that. Sure, so it's not like Menner's doing a Kirk impersonation. Like, it's not one of those situations.
No, that was an interesting comparison though. But it was funny to hear. No, Daver's voice is unbelievable. Unreal
great radio voice. Great unbelievable radio voice.
Yeah. If he was just smarter, he would be in the business, but he's right below that threshold.
Just below.
He's right there.
The main thing that bugs me about Cullinane as a former Steve guy is just how much of a pass he gets compared to what Steve used to get. And maybe Steve brought some of that on himself, but I feel like he was backed in a corner and he never had a choice other than to like have his guard up all the time. He was always getting attacked. Like, Cullinane saying Highway to Heaven is an AC/DC song. It said it's really Highway to Hell. Like, that is something that Steve would have gotten crushed for. Any mispronunciation of a word, he'd get crushed for. Cullinane calling Robbie Fox Bobby Fox, like, Steve would have gotten murdered for that. And worst of all, I mean, the whole hotel check-in thing, that was covered enough. He's just stupid. But he's talking about how on the Portnoy show they said Elio, you know, is able to drive a lot of people to bet, and Cullinane's like, yeah, you know, he got 80,000 people to do his T-shirt bet, when on the show they clearly say 8,000, which is
he added a zero,
significant. He added a
1,000%. Yeah,
he's off by 1,000%. Now, if Steve had done that, Ziggy, Red, these morons would have been calling the show, harassing him, talking about how fake smart he is and all this stuff. But it's always something I'm hyper aware of.
Well, but it's fun. It's wacky because you get Dave's one of the guys. You know, he's not. Mistake. No, Alex, I do like Cullinane, but dude, Steve's the best. Steve was so authentically wacky and just weird, and it was a great balance for the show. Great balance. Like, Dave is too much of a Minifan. His mentality, like mentally, everything about is too Minifan related, where Steve is just a guy who'll get in a fucking camper and drive around the country like a fucking sociopath, like a lunatic. And
Steve's a real lunatic.
And he's authentic though. But that's you're born
and
that way.
Dave does have some layers. He's definitely a weird guy, but it's nothing compared to what we were able to uncover about Steve. And I've decided for the outros of all the shows now, I'm just going to play an old Steve clip, exactly what you're talking about, just an organic, absolute psychopath move. So look forward to that at the end of the show. I've got a great one prepared. All right, let's get into my favorite section, gripes. I've said this every week. A lot of them. Since I have a wrap-up show, I listen to the show very critically. I'm a fan of the show. I actually hate the show. Don't tell anyone. But I just
Secrets out.
A lot of parrots out there on KMS Twitter, where it's like the minute Kirk says something, it's just you're gonna get a million tweets of people making the same joke. Not a lot of originality out there anymore. Originality, they're not making any more of it. But let's get into the gripes here. One thing I thought was funny, and I could get kind of your expert opinion on it, is somehow haircuts came up, and Kirk was talking about how he could grow his hair out if he wanted, but it's just, he chooses not to do it. And I don't know. That made me laugh. He could maybe grow a Ben Franklin. let me get your expert analysis on that. Could Kirk grow his hair out, or is he better off keeping it buzzed?
So we're not there. We're like a year and a half away from being at that status here. It's not going well.
A year is a long time.
I swear to God, like every time I like look in the mirror or something, and I see the thing, it's happening, it's there. You can't ignore it. You know, if Putin was looking in the mirror and seeing that, he'd blame Putin. I won't. I'll take accountability. The buck stops in me. It's probably genetics. Nothing I did wrong. I always think, do I just shave it? And his thing is way past mine. You could grow it out, but should you? I think he's probably doing the right thing. And no homo, is the kids used to say in middle school. That may be like offensive now. No homo. He's a handsome guy. I would do what he's doing, because once you start, you become 10 times more perverty when you have like the hair on the sides and shit. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know, there's no good way to do that.
He's got a nice, like, natural kind of mohawk thing going. Yeah. You don't want to do the Brian Urlacher where you go from being like super bold to just having hair. Would you ever do like what Portnoy did and just get the little natural add-on, you know, or are you a guy that's gonna just bick it and grow the beard out?
I couldn't
both work, in my opinion.
I couldn't rationalize spending like 20% of my yearly income on that. But if I was rich, oh yeah. I mean, no doubt about it. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Give somebody truth serum. Would you rather be bald or have a fucking great head of hair?
Yeah.
Duh.
I think it's a thing that maybe there used to be a lot more stigma about, but I think it's okay for dudes to want to be hot now. I think that's ungay now.
No homo.
No pause. No homo.
Homo. Can you still say that nowadays?
I think so. You know, that's one thing. They say it on, Troops, the soccer guy at Barstool, says it like all the time, like 50 times an episode. So
he's probably around our age too. So, dude, I remember saying that in school, and the teachers were like, "Oh, that's fine." Like, I don't know if you say, algebra now, hey, no homo. Yeah. If the teacher's like, "Excuse me," but like back in the day, that was just like accepted. No homo.
Yeah,
funny expression.
Funny expression. Another gripe getting in. Did you watch the trivia? You know, I don't watch all the trivias, but since this was a #1 battle and I like the Chicago guys, I did watch it. Did you watch the trivia?
I didn't, because as soon as I see as soon as I see the results get leaked online, I can't watch.
I'm the same way. So I'm sometimes able to like just get back to the beginning or without seeing anything about it. But I'm the same way. It's hard for me to watch something if I know the result. Even like a soccer game or something, it's difficult for me to do.
Anything, dude, anything.
I would just like to say, and I tweeted this out to Kirk, a crucial question. I think it was 7-6. They were down a point. Miami Hurricanes question, who was the quarterback during 2013? I mean, that's my sophomore year. I'm there. I'm at like 8 games a year. Ja'Cory Harris.
Oh, you cunt. Can you say cunt? My apologies. I was trying to guess. I would not have gotten that. I actually would have guessed 2013. I thought it'd been like a light skinned guy, Kaya.
Brad Kaya was.
How wrong would I be?
Brad Kaya was right after, but there was another light skinned guy right before Stephen Morris. So you would have been pretty close. Yeah.
Morris stunk.
He stunk.
My God.
Dark days in Miami football, but the monster is back.
Yeah, you guys are starting to be scumbags and steal athletic directors and whole other things, but we won't get into that. It's a whole different.
We won't get into that. Have you had In-N-Out Burger?
No, I've never been. I've done the Five Guys. I think it might be regional. Shake Shack is always in the realm.
We got Five Guys. We got Shake Shack.
I've never had In-N-Out. I've seen people that I know and respect say it lives up to the hype. I've seen people I know and respect say it's completely overrated and it's trash. So I don't know. So I need to try it myself.
Here's the thing about In-N-Out is I think it's fair to say it's overrated in the sense that it just has so much hype, and people from the East Coast who have never had it, it's so hyped up. At the end of the day, it's just a drive-through Chick-fil-A style service, like very good service, very good employees, clean, friendly, quick, efficient. But like a cheeseburger and fries is like $6 at In-N-Out. It's not like Shake Shack where like Shake Shack is like $25. You might as well
you gotta take out a fucking loan.
Exactly. So I like Shake Shack, but to me it's in a whole different category because of the price. In-N-Out is just supposed to be a solid, nice burger, like the same way a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is supposed to just be reliable, good, clean, friendly. That's what In-N-Out Burger is supposed to be, and that's what it does. It tastes great, fresh ingredients, family-owned business. They said, I don't even know if you know, this will make you like them, but I think the one in San Francisco, earlier in the pandemic, San Francisco was like,
vaguely remember.
They were like, you gotta check vaccine cards, and they were like, fuck you, we're not doing it, and so the city basically shut them down. So
if you go back 3 Twitters ago, I definitely retweeted it. Like, I like it. Yeah. I like that a
lot. Anyone saying that Five Guys is better than In-N-Out, like, look, food, music, you can have your opinions, but there's way too much In-N-Out slander on the internet, and I can promise you, as a guy who's had both many times, Five Guys is not better than In-N-Out.
Listen, I'm glad we're friends again. I don't want to go back to being enemies. I've never had In-N-Out, so this is I could be wrong here. I love
Five
Guys. I love Five Guys. Five Guys. And I'll tell you what, the take that's going on the internet that I think is just so fucking chaotic. It's insane. Banana Land is
wild.
Wild. That was a pretty good David impression. Wild. I tried to make my neck fatter, but I'm already fat, so it worked. Anyway, let's move past that. I think Five Guys fries is unbelievable. I think they're unbelievable. I don't get the slander for the fries. What's the slander for these fries here? They're great.
They're good, and if I remember,
and they had Mr. Pibb by me. Mr. Pibb at the thing.
Yep,
unbelievable.
Yep, there you go. And if I remember correctly, Five Guys just an absolute massive portion of fries, just more fries than you could.
Inflation hit them. They used to like
has that changed?
High school. We used to, dude. When I was in high school, we used to go.
They used to give you a brown bag with the cup.
The bag we filled up. The cup would be. Now, dude, you get it. There's like 3 straggler flies around it. Yeah, inflation. Thanks, Joe. We did it.
That would have never happened under 45. That's all.
Never.
If we can get. Never. Is Donald Trump going to be the next president of the United States?
No, because I know this is where conspiracy Mike comes in. No, dude,
they won't let it happen.
No, fuck no. Guess what we'll have? Oh, there's a water main break. Here comes some more. No, we'll never have it. We'll never have it. If the people actually got the vote, we had and shout to Carano. If we put the shit behind like a blockchain and had no really like people could interfere, Trump would win in a fucking landslide. But we don't have. That was quick. I think the next president of the United States will be whoever, either Biden, which is chaotic, or whoever steps in for him.
If they run Kamala, Trump would, like, election-wise, would beat the brakes off her. Just, she is so unlikable. I've actually, so the lady I used to work for, my old boss.
Would you?
No, just because.
What? Come on.
No, I wouldn't. And I'm normally a guy that is a hate fuck guy, but no, I wouldn't. And I've met her in person. At my old boss used to do fundraisers for at our office, and like just a cold bitch, like has put a lot of people in jail that don't need to be in jail. Just a two-faced snake, cold, dirty bitch.
Yeah. I agree. View. I still would.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm not gonna hold that against you.
She's no Smugsy in my eyes. Smugsy's the hottest politician out there. But Kamala Harris, I think you're a lowlife. I think you're a scumbag. I think you're a fraud. You can still get this Montante dick if you want it. It's out there.
Yeah. And, I don't know how closely this audience follows Smugsy, but she's under attack right now because she basically is opposing an affordable housing project in her town that is really not an affordable housing project. It? Yeah, dude, because she's smart. So
isn't that anti-liberal?
Yeah, well, she has a brain for a liberal. Like, they're trying to put this affordable housing project, this is my understanding of it, in her town, which basically the low-income people in her town will not qualify for that. So it's like, if we're building this for low-income people, like, and there's not a lot of them in our town, like, why are we just bringing people in? Like, we already have people making $40,000 a year who would technically be above the threshold, but who are people who really should be qualified for that.
Okay, I got you.
So she's got people coming at her left and right for opposing this affordable housing project, and it's just really fun for me to watch on Twitter. People are super pissed at her, basically like, you hate, poor people, and so the left, they eat themselves. What are you gonna do?
Hate to see it.
Our friend Menners
Ugh.
promised me face to face he was gonna call the main show. He's got this whole complaint with Kirk. He's got issues with Cullinane. Last week, he's like, "Oh, I've got my kids. I'm really busy. Oh, I can't stay up that like this late." He's just making excuses. He's scared. What are your thoughts on that?
Listen, if you're gonna take this for what it's worth, Menners. I like Menners. I think he's entertaining. He just followed me. Probably unfollowed me by now. It's been like 72 hours. Bad for his brand.
Montante's racist.
Montante's racist. Hey, Montante. Hey, yeah, you fucking little midget. No, listen. If you're gonna put out these tweets like, "Oh, get excited, guys! 2 hours to Kirk drops." It's like, dude, relax, man. You're scaring me. And I'm fucking a gazillion miles away. Relax, buddy. If you're gonna be that like weird about it, and I need to run the YouTube, and then when it's your call to action to actually like, okay, let's communicate here, and you're coming up with every excuse in the book. It's a horrible look. How else do you spin it? Like, dude, this is your time. Like, step up. Like, if it's gonna be uncomfortable, get through it. Like, just do it. So I don't know. Yeah, dude, you can't be the weird little obsessed little creature, Gollum as I call him, and then all of a sudden turn away when your number's called. Can't do it.
He's scared, and I think he's really been under
pressure.
I'm
scared.
Because...
Hey, VD thinks I'm scared. Yeah, you are scared, you little midget. Yeah, come on.
You fucking asshole.
I love him, though. Something about him. He looks like an Australian Beetlejuice.
He does, and me and Menner's relationship has never been better. We're able to openly critique each other and criticize each other, but everything is meshing well right now. But I'm gonna really start to lose faith in him if he doesn't call the show soon. And I think it would break the internet. Like, the people want it. He's all about the network, but he doesn't put his show on the network. Like, he takes a lot from the show, and I just feel like he doesn't give enough back.
If I can get into his little perverted brain, I just entered it, and I can see a lot of.
All you see is like Lauren.
A lot of naked Lauren Lynn in this. Yeah, I see a lot of Lauren Lynn scenarios here. Some of them are really dark and twisted. She's actually hogtied in this one. I'm getting out of his brain, but from what I saw, he. Are you still here? My God. Oh, no. Did Meadows hack it? I'm just seeing me. So what I saw from this perverted brain, because it's just me now, is a lot of Lauren Lynn tied up. Are you still here?
I'm back. I'm sorry.
What just happened?
Back by accident. I like, if I swipe on my mouse pad by accident, it goes back to like the last page I was at. So it just bounced me. But I'm back. Yeah, a lot of Lauren Lynn.
I was saying, I saw her in his mind. I escaped it. I saw her hogtied and tied up, so I escaped. So I don't want to get into all of that. By the way, Lauren Lynn just had sex. She announced on Twitter. No big deal.
Amazing tweet.
Lauren Lynn, hardwood, very good looking person. But what I would say is, I actually think the YouTube, which you want to give Cullinane grades on stuff, you had high hopes. If he was a politician, his build the wall, he was going to make the YouTube great again. F-. Oh my God. Just completely neglected. I actually think Menners, who is, taken for what he's worth, he's a complete loser. He would dedicate his life to this YouTube. I think he would make the YouTube 1,000 times better.
The thing is, he just doesn't seem to like do anything like that unless it's ordered of him now. Maybe because he's had the fear put in him where like he's afraid to do something wrong and Kirk will come down on him, to now he pretty much just only takes orders. And yeah, I mean, if I would have thought the network would have been in this state 6 months ago, I would have been crazy. Everybody thought Cullinane, he's the Minifan guy. The network's going to be back.
Yep.
And it is just interesting that under Big Steve, that network was flourishing. There was like 20 shows. I'd like to get it back to where we have some consistent shows, but I think Menners is especially threatened by the Beyond Average boys, who I know you had a nice call to last week.
Did you smarten them up?
No, it wasn't me.
They sniffed me out so quick.
No, it wasn't me.
I did the worst ever on record. Ned Snark impression. Only because my cell phone right now does not do calls. So my company phone is a 954. He's from Fort Lauderdale. I don't mean to dox him, but he is. So I called. I'm gonna do a Ned Snark, and yeah, they ran with it. I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So then I called back.
That's the beautiful.
Adam.
Yeah, they sniffed you out.
They didn't at first, I don't think. And then I was like, I didn't want to be like too like into the impression too, because I could come off as like really wrong because he's a Hasidic.
Yeah.
But then they're like, oh, like I was like, my son like loves your show. Like, oh, what's his name? Like Shlomo. And I was like, did that get by them? And then instant hang up. And I was like, oh fuck. So then I called back as me. I was like, hey, like it's Montante. And instantly, dude, they're like, yeah, man, like you can't call it twice. Hang up. I was like, what the fuck? So they tell me and from 2 different numbers, so they smartened up. I like them. I think I need a little more out of Christian.
A little more out of Christian. I mean, I was listening to the most recent one the other day, and the thing I like about their podcast is they will just spread wild misinformation. Like they were talking about the Cain Velasquez situation, and they're like, yeah, he shot a guy 3 times, the guy's dead, all this stuff. Just none of it's true. Like he shot at people.
Narrative.
Don't let the facts get in the way of a good narrative.
We got no time for that. I like that.
But yeah, I like Mick. I like Christian. They're funny dudes.
Mick's an entertaining human.
He is. He's the perfect balance of like someone who's in the KMS world, but not super into it. So like he's a little naive and green on the internet, but in a fun way. Like, and he's good on air. I like their show. Happy to have them on the network. Hope they keep going.
He was easy. He was easy to talk to. When I had him on my show, he was easy. Yeah. Like when I had Sheldon on the second time, Sheldon stunk.
Oh yeah.
Sheldon was awful. I love Sheldon, but Sheldon, like, dude, he just got done with a bender. We didn't sleep for fucking 2 weeks. He had no energy. Mickey brought the energy. We had to end it short.
Mickey's got energy.
In bundles. I like Mickey's a good guy.
Sheldon, the thing about Sheldon is if you hang out with Ziggy Robinson long enough, you're gonna eventually just start to lose anything I'm not blaming him for that. That was bound to happen, Bound to happen. Did you by chance hear Mayo's show on he took over for Menners, I guess, while they're on their vacation and did a little 20-minute solo show. Did you hear that?
So I don't mean this in any negative fashion. I honest to God, if I'm not gambling, I'm working and driving. So I only listen to 2 or 3 podcasts. So I don't mean that in a mean way. So I've never really heard Mentor's show, and I didn't even know this. I don't know who Mayo really is, and I didn't know he took over. So no, I didn't.
It's funny. He talks about you on it, where he's like
Mayo.
He's talking about the KMS shows in the KMS world.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, up until a couple days ago, I thought Beyond Average Mick and Montante were the same person. So, it seems to be a mutual lack of.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to introduce you guys. It'd be interesting. But Mayo, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think bad to say. I don't really know who it is.
It's okay if you mean something bad. I've said plenty.
I've never heard of him.
Plenty about. I'll give you a little taste of who Mayo is.
Andy Mayo's his name, right?
Andy Mayo's his name.
Yeah.
He went into hiding for a while. He was the guy where he called into the show, and he had been giving Big Steve and Kirk shit for a while, and Steve was basically just like, "I'm gonna fucking dox you. Shut the fuck up." And then he kind of went into hiding for
okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
By the way,
nice.
Big win for Steve Robinson. By the way, he won.
Big dub. And
he's like, Trump. He flexes nuts, and people run away.
People run away. They disappear. But I mean, the show was 20 minutes, the rambling of an absolute madman.
Oh, I like that though. That was
not in a different way than I would. People have often described you as a madman. I think this is more of a different way, where maybe kind of a guy that might wear Kirk's skin type of madman. More that species of madman.
That's
but
tough.
He's talking about how. He thinks that Chris's podcast, he's like, oh, I could see Good Morning America, doing 2 minutes, just covering his podcast.
Yeah. All right, you've said enough.
But,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Holy shit. He said it in a serious manner. It wasn't
dead serious manner. Dead serious manner. At the end of it, he kind of goes into this 2-minute monologue about how Red deserves more credit, and he's been through, he's a consistent Minifan, and just a really the ramblings of a madman is all I can say. Mayo, I'm glad you're back. I disagree with 95% of what you say, but I guess it's good to have you back. We'll see if he keeps getting into the content game. But
well,
just
how did Menners come across this idea to have this guy fill in? Like, what was
because Menners loves Mayo, like loves him. So I think Menners probably behind the scenes has been begging him to get involved in the show some way. And he is good on air, Mayo. He's good at talking. He's interesting. It's just the words that come out aren't that great. You know, like the sound is good. He's got a good tone and rhythm, and he sounds confident.
Is he handsome?
He's a decent looking guy. Yeah,
if you speak English, you'd enjoy his show.
Yeah. I wouldn't call him handsome, but I wouldn't call him. He's got like a generic gray hat with no logo or anything that he likes to wear. Funny, self-aware guy, but probably needs a psychological evaluation from a serious professional.
Fair.
All right, I'm gonna get into. Unless you have any gripes, that was the last of my gripes.
How much? I don't mean to be because I'm jonesing like a little kid. I gotta take a peeps and make a mixed drink. I'm gonna be honest here.
Yeah, go for it.
So how much time do you have? I could do another half hour, but I know you got to keep this regimented and tighter.
Oh no, I could go as long as you want. Go make a drink. People can. This is not this is Montante's world style. You know, there's no rules.
Good.
Go make a drink. Go take a piss. I'm gonna actually upload this.
A peeps.
Yeah, go for it.
Beautiful.
Oh, Andy Mayo. Is there a more spineless group of individuals than the anti-Steve crowd? I'll put this up for a sec just so we can all see the beautiful Mayo. Beautiful Mayo. Mayo, legendary Steve hater. Intro to that show, he basically comes on and is like, Steve is brave. He really took a risk on Kirk. I really respect him. He's very talented. He's just not my cup of tea. Then we got Benders now, who's basically begging for Steve to come back. I just don't know if there's a more spineless group of individuals on the planet than the Steve haters. They've all come around. Every time they do, it feels like such a victory for me. I think I DM'd Mayo and told him that like my dick physically gets hard when I hear people do that. So yeah, keep. I can't think of any true Steve haters other than the Warden of the North right now that are still in the game. They've dropped like flies, and it's just win after win for me in that regard. Here we go. I'm going to get this clip up here.
Are you fucking ass?
Wrong clip. Here we go.
And you're right too, Kirk. I am a pussy. I'll admit that.
Oh, I love that clip. Boy, do I love that clip.
This could be Spectrum, or what did it say? This could be my autism speaking, but did you play San Andreas?
Absolutely.
Do you remember that song? I can't shake it out of my head. It's been in my head for a week. It's the first time verbalizing it. Do you remember that song, I Love a Rainy Night?
Probably if I heard it, but not off the top of my head.
When you're playing San Andreas and you're like, you know how like you don't personally, because they have like the hills of California?
Oh, yeah.
Anytime you like steal like a tractor or something, you'd be playing the country station. It was always on.
You'd be playing, the country kind of song.
I love a rain.
Yeah.
I gotta speak to a therapist every time. Like if I'm quiet in the bathroom and I have like silence, it comes in my head. I'm fucking losing it rapidly.
Well, look, there's got to be something in your head. It might as well be a song from a video game
banger
from like 10 years ago.
Banger,
absolute
banger. By the way, this shit went hard. Woo. Well, we're good now. Let's get back to it.
So this is Andy Mayo.
And you're right too, Kirk. I am a pussy. I'll admit that.
That's my guy. He's very on it. He actually did a pretty good interview with Kirk back in the day, early days of the network.
What was the?
Look at him. That's him.
Stunningly
handsome. Stunningly handsome.
He looks like a New England version of Barcelona.
Kind of, yeah.
What was the genesis of that of that interview?
This was him and his Milton Duds. The interview, I think he he used to have a show on the network called A Nickel's Worth of Free Advice.
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. So he's that guy. Yeah, he had Kirk on that show where it was a bizarre concept for a show. He would basically do like half KMS wrap up, and then he would just give advice on like what microphone to buy and stuff. But he didn't really have any idea what he was talking about. So,
like that.
But yeah, Mayo, I'm glad you're back in the world. Maybe you'll come on this show one day. I doubt it. I don't know. That's a good question. I've never asked. I've never inquired. I wouldn't want to have him on unless I was like in a moment of passion or inspired to have a discussion about something specific. Maybe if the Case season 2 stinks, I'll have him on and I'll just bust his balls about that. But
did you like the Case season 1?
I tried to. I stuck out hope. I think they just bit off more than they could chew. Season 2, it seems like their aim is a little more realistic for what they're trying to pull off. I'm not sure if I trust Cullinane with that kind of episodic production. Episodic production is very difficult, but I'll give it a go. That's one thing I'll always say. I'll always give it a go.
I wasn't crazy about the Case. I listened to the show. Obviously, Alex, my girlfriend, listened to the show. She loves that shit. She loves Barstool Chicago, and they do what was it? Something Friday, True Crime Friday.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm
she
a big
loves
true
that
crime guy.
Yeah, so she likes that. She loved the Case. I think in my brain, this is me being honest. Self-awareness is key in life. For every aspect. I think I'm too stupid to follow it. I was so confused at a lot of points during the Case.
Yeah,
they'd be like, "Oh, now we're gonna interview so and so." Like, I thought he was dead. I was just. It was so much for me. It was interesting. The one guy's obviously a blatant scumbag. I listened to it. I enjoyed it. But if I had to write a book report on it, dude, I'm getting an F. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I can understand that. I feel like probably a lot of people might have felt like that. To me, I just think it's almost impossible to in real time produce a true crime podcast where it's you're not hinting that you think you're going to solve it, but I mean, in not a lot of these podcasts, but in a good amount of them, there's usually some kind of resolution. And so I guess the lack of resolution, let me down, but that's certainly not a fault of their own, other than that's just kind of the route they went. But I think, I'll give the new season a shot. But Kirk, open invite to come in. You can contact me.
If he did an Andy Mayo show, why would he not do this?
I don't know, because it's if I asked him and it seemed like I wanted to have him on, he would probably just hold it over my head and fuck with me about it.
I'm not.
Yeah.
VD, I'm glad you don't like the show and you're greatly supportive.
Yeah.
I'm not. You think
it's a no-win situation?
Yeah.
I think I could get him on. I could give it a better effort than Cullinane has booking Fred Couples. That's what I could say. I could give him much. I'm gonna get into my random Montante questions. Your boy Thad Castle was one of the all-time biggest mush tweets earlier.
Is it soccer related?
Yeah, it's soccer related.
Yeah.
He tweeted, "Does Ronaldo just suck?" Ronaldo then proceeded to score 3 goals in the next 60 minutes. Got a hat trick, broke the record for most goals ever for any player. I respect he didn't delete it, but he is private, so he has to be less worried about it.
I know he's gotta be unprivate because I wanted to retweet a lot of his stuff recently. He's been funny.
I know
that was good. I was sitting to get my hair cut and I was waiting, and he was texting me about how. So by the time I sat down, he's like, "Dude, Ronaldo sucks. You have to see what he just missed. Dude, honestly, I don't think he'd start some MLS teams." And then by the time I was leaving, he's like, "Hey, yeah, he just has a hat trick." It's whoa, what changed? What changed, dude? What? That's so. Funny.
I don't know if Thad was gambling on this game, but it still applies. Are you a guy that will tweet about your bets before they're over? Because I'm super superstitious about if I tweet one thing, I'm gonna mush the fuck out of this. Every now and then I'll slip up and I'll do it, and I will mush the shit out of it. What's your stance on that?
I will if I think my bet is dead. So
so that's
if I have created
the reverse
5 and they're down 21. I'll say fuck Creighton. I've never bet on the game. I honest to God hate them. I hope they all die. And I'll bet that. Thinking that maybe listen, They lose.
Maybe.
I'm still angry, but I could turn the tide. I would never, vice versa, be like, Creighton's a moneymaker. Thank you for paying my bills. We're up 16. +3 was a gift. No, not in a billion
Never.
years.
I'm the same way. If I'm losing, even if I have a team, like -3, the other team first drive of the game goes down and scores. I'm a big like, oh, this game's dead in the water. It's over.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big count everything as an L guy, trying to get that reverse jinx. I think that's appropriate, but
if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you just made money. Who cares?
Exactly. Yeah. My next random question, is Carson Wentz still the quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts if they weren't on the Hard Knocks show? Like, does getting embarrassed on a national stage like that, having a massive collapse where you've got a behind-the-scenes documentary being produced about you, did that make it that much more necessary for them to move on?
I only saw 2 of the episodes. That's actually a good question, though.
And it's more not even like, because he came off fine on it, but it's more just like
he was
the whole world just saw you collapse and like
because the defense was there, the way they were, with that deep voice, they're talking about how good defense is.
Yeah,
the middle linebacker was from South Carolina State. That's a great. That's wild. I think if that show does not get produced, I think Carson Wentz still the quarterback of the Colts.
I think he might have. I think he has a much better chance of getting another year. Maybe he was gone. I know the owner.
I think Carson Wentz is top 12, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's insane.
I like Carson Wentz a lot.
What?
A whole lot. I'm a Carson Wentz guy.
What about Carson Wentz do you like? I like watching him fail. So
he's a man of faith. His
True.
injuries history is not fantastic. I think he's a genuine good guy. I've seen flashes. He's still young enough. I think his game could translate as he gets older. I'm a Carson Wentz guy. I think he is a more athletic, not even more athletic. I think he at his peak, he could be he's a Ryan Tannehill with a stronger arm. You can win with Carson Wentz.
He's got all the tools other than a brain, which is tough. And I think he's such a loser that he has a hard time relating to the rest of the locker room. Like, it's not like a Phillip Rivers thing where Phillip Rivers was a big God guy, but he was cool. Like, Phillip Rivers was
he got a lot of pussy too.
His
wife's pussy at least 20 times. Yeah.
He gets a pussy a lot.
Yes, a lot. He's the Stu Feiner of the NFL.
Yeah, 15. What is it? 15, 30. What is it?
I like Carson Wentz, so we'll see. I think time will prove me right on Carson Wentz. Before it's all said and done, Carson Wentz will be in 2 Super Bowls as a starting quarterback and win 1. Book it.
That is a bad take. I will book that.
It.
I will book that.
Look forward to it.
Calvin Ridley. So obviously, this is a topic where I've seen a lot of bad takes flying around. A lot of people saying, I don't see what's wrong with a player gambling as long as you're betting on yourself to win. A lot of people saying 1-year suspension's too long. Kind of your take on this thing, and then I'll give you the correct take, which is mine.
So I had this. This is beautiful about this. I had this on Montante's World like 4 days ago. So I'm about to say something that could completely contradict myself because I don't remember what I said. I understand why it's wrong. Like, you cannot. That there does have integrity of the game and whatnot. And by the way, if you think that he only really did these small parlays, you're an absolute moron. I think he's an idiot for doing it. 1,000%. Like I said, I forget what I said originally, but as long as you don't, I think it's different. If you have proof that he bet against the Falcons, that's like, dude, like, what's going on? But also, someone made the point. I forget exactly who, but it was a great point. Might have been Kirk. If there are 4 Falcon games and you're sitting on the sideline and you bet on the Falcons 3 out of the 4, why'd you not bet on the 4th game? Like,
yeah,
like, what do you know? It's a great line, but at the end of the day, like, dude, you can't get caught. Like, you have to have like your friend. He should be suspended. I think a year is closer to being on the light side than the heavy side.
Yeah,
so, you can say like, dude, like, oh, we're all behind you. And I'm sure I did, but if we're being honest about it, you generally just can't do that.
So yeah, to me, the crime, it's not like a black and white thing, but unfortunately, the punishment is where it's like, I don't care why it happened or or how it happened, but you just have to be gone for a year, if not longer. People don't put enough emphasis on how important it is to like make sure that fans are confident in the integrity of the game. There's already a lot of people who have issues with officials, and like the last thing you need is players thinking it's okay to casually bet on games and they'll just get a slap on the wrist. I mean, I heard Portnoy say like that there's not inside information, that everybody knows about injuries. I mean, that's a stupid take. Like, obviously, if you're on the team,
dead ass wrong. He was dead ass wrong.
like you know, for player props, like I think is probably where it helps the most. Like knowing what you're running in the red zone, like, oh, you know, like we're gonna get the ball to the tight end probably a lot. And it's just a stupid thing. It's a stupid thing for him to do. Again, the crime is not black and white. Like he wasn't throwing games at all. I would never think that. It does make you wonder that if he's betting like 3,900, I think, on an official app, like what was this guy doing
with an actual bookie
behind the scenes? And I don't think he's a throwing games guy. I think he probably just likes to gamble like the rest of us. But he's now missing out on $11 for like a $1,500 9-team parlay or whatever.
11 milli. 11 mil.
Not worth it.
No, not worth it at all.
Not worth it.
And it's just the thing is, so that's the other side of it too, is if you rationalize that and say, okay, you only bet X amount of money, then you're opening Pandora's box. You have to come down on this hard and set a precedent. You cannot be like, oh, well, you can't. I mean, listen, dude, you play college football, like bet your balls off and be braggadocious about it online. Bet college football. It's a day earlier than your game. Like, do that. You cannot bet on a league where you're getting paid by the same league. And I get it. I see both sides, but at the end of the day, you cannot be upset with the punishment that was handed down to him.
And to me, it's so easy to get away with it if you care at all. Like, just have your cousin, your neighbor, your whoever put the bets.
Anybody who's not you.
So easy. And literally anybody other than you.
By the way, he got caught for $1,500 worth of bets. Like, dude, I put more money in like for Robinson's rules on a fucking NFL Sunday. Like, it's like he's not putting 1.5 million, but like red flags get raised. It's like, dude, figure it out. Like, be smart.
Right. And this is gonna sound weird to say, and people aren't gonna like it probably, but a big comparison that gets brought up is, oh, Ray Rice got 2 games or whatever, and he gets a year. Well, unfortunately, like what Ray Rice did is a way worse crime against society. But in regards to on the field, like the integrity of the game, like what Calvin Ridley did is actually worse, and that's like a heinous thing to say because we've all seen the Ray Rice video, but it's an ugly truth that people don't want to admit. And if
Ray Rice beating his girlfriend in AC after a couple pops may not have anything to do with $30 million being gambled on a fucking week 4 NFL game. Like it is stupid, but money leads the way. So you're 100% right. It's tough to say, but it's true.
And I hear people saying, well, the NFL takes money from gambling companies, so they're hypocritical. That's a stupid take. Like, okay, if you want the NFL to not take money from gambling companies, but have the players be allowed to bet, go ahead, because like the reason the salary cap's going up, the reason the average value of every franchise is going up is because of the amount of gambling money. I think I read something that in 10 years, the average estimated value of each NFL franchise is going to be between 8 and 10 billion. So like everybody's about to triple their money basically because of gambling money. So everybody just, if you're a player, be a little more careful. It's easy to get away with. Contact me. I'll be your Daver. Daver will be your bag man. Montante will be your bag
will just reach out to me. So just cut out the middleman, cut out the fat Portuguese middleman. Yeah. Come right to me. We'll work out a deal. I can have that money. Actually, get the hair surgery. So reach out to me directly, please.
And if you don't answer, he'll just call Thad and have him do it instead.
Correct. As Helder once found out. Yes, correct.
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about what's going on with you and Red, because it seems we have a common enemy. I don't know necessarily the genesis of your dispute. I do know that he's just been going on shows and calling you racist and all sorts of stuff.
So in a nutshell, because it's not that serious, I don't really care. My dog, don't know why she's crying. I think someone, Sookie, stop. Imagine it was Red. Imagine Red's here. Don't Don't know who that is, but I just like I've been busy, but like for like there's a couple weeks span where every time I go on Twitter, I would have like 20 plus notifications. I don't have to say anything that crazy. I'm like, oh, like, what's like what happened? And the genesis would normally be Red just like responding, like, but just these annoying, like lazy things. But I noticed a pattern. It was like always the same thing. It was just lazy. It wasn't that well thought out. It was boring. It was bland. And after like the fucking third week, it's like, oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. It's my neighborhood. You want to talk about a set? That's smoking hot. Suki, enough. We done? We good? Suki. But yeah, no, Reddit would just be fucking saying the most. He just repeating himself. It was just like after like the fourth or fifth week, it's like, man, this guy stinks, man. Like I met him, nice guy, but like absolute zero. So I don't actually hate him. I don't actually mean it when I say that. I think I do hate him. I'm not crazy about him. He stinks. He's just there's not much to him. Like I like having battles, but these were battles that I wasn't looking for. I'm waking up in the morning. He's just repeating himself.
He's infuriating. He's infuriating to argue with because, like, if you try to challenge him on anything, he'll say like, "Relax, it's a comedy podcast." But then if you don't, like, trust me, I
missed that video. Yeah. That's the biggest thing. That's what drove me nuts.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Hey, man," I was like, "Hey, listen, like, for what it's worth, like, I get you're doing a shtick, but like, this is kind of like annoying. Like, you're really annoying me. Relax, man. It's a joke. It's Twitter." But then, that's what drove me nuts. But then 10 minutes later, he'd be blowing something up. Like, That
and the Red,
drove me nuts.
Even worse than Red is the Red like crew. Like, the crew that comes along in those threads sometimes is unbearable to me. But if I had advice to Red, it would be this.
I just wish people would stop telling other people how to act online.
It's that simple.
Fair.
It's that simple.
He has a haircut that I probably should have for being.
He did make fun of you for your hairline, which I kind of throw the flag on. I don't know if a bald guy is allowed to make fun of a guy who is less bald. I mean, maybe you could take a shot, but it's like you better expect that I'm coming right back with like, I'm not gonna take a shit from a guy who can't even grow hair.
That's a good point. It's a good point. I respect that. No, but that's like if I go online, like I'm gonna rib Daver from Hull. Like we're boys. Yeah. Like I'll rib my guys. Like it's funny, and I'll expect it back. Meanwhile, whatever. That's cool. I just don't know Red like that. He just regurgitates the same old jokes, and then when he's like started calling me like racist shit. Like, dude, like I generally don't know you like that. Like I think you're an absolute dink. He does absolutely nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. Great guy, and I'm sure if I saw him in person. Buy a beer, let's do a shot together. Like I have no animosity to you, but when I DM you saying I think you're really boring and I'm sick of your act, that's I mean that from my heart. Like you're awful. Yeah. I don't like you.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. Amen to all that. I've had fun watching this Phil. Now, Phil, if we want to talk about the Summer of Blood, my guy, you're normally a guy I feel like I have to hop in and defend Phil from. People love taking shots at Phil. He can handle it. He loves the hate because he's just like, look, if people are hating on me, they're still talking about me, which is a mantra I really respect. But it's been a spectacle seeing what Phil's been doing, making gifts. He obviously has a creative team behind the scenes working with him to give him intel. But I mean, I love this from Phil. And at the end of the day, you can say what you want about Phil. I never seen him in person, but I could tell he's a big dude. He's fucking
6'2", 235. Easy.
Yeah. I don't want any problems with Philly forklifts. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's why I have to walk the tightrope because Phil is. I like Phil a lot. I rip him a lot, but at the end of the day, like I'm gonna see him next week. Like I gotta. The next couple weeks, you might hear me be a little quiet on Phil's part because he could fucking murder me.
He'll headbutt you.
No doubt about it. There's not much in that head, so he has nothing to really risk doing that. But he's been incredible. But yeah, it's dude. Phil's funny. Like again, I sent him, so I cannot stand Dick Trickle. Can't stand him. This will make him happy. He'll be like, oh, this is that. What I just said was a win for him. Which if that's a win for you, that's what your life is about. Congratulations, like good for you. You earned it. So I was like, So I saw Dick Trickle was like getting after Phil, right? And I was just like, I'm gonna give him this small information. I know Phil will like do something about this. I was like, just for what it's worth, I think this kid's like a fucking gym teacher in middle school. I swear to God, no bullshit. 90 seconds later, I go on Twitter, and there's just a no context meme about like a gym teacher. It's so funny. He's the best. Phil's the best.
He's the best.
And the thing is, he puts these memes out there with no context. Like I see that and I understand it, but when he responds to Dick Trickle with this meme, everyone has no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, no idea.
The best.
No
He's so
idea.
funny.
I love Phil.
Memeing Phil is the best Phil. There's no doubt about it.
Phil, Summer of Blood Phil is my favorite Phil. And then,
It's unbelievable.
I see some of these, my new favorite hobby is like seeing these new burner accounts that pop up that are clearly completely literate in like KMS universe stuff. So it's like, I know you're somebody else. So like, I have a reputation as a journalist, but every great journalist has a lot of sources. Like some of the stuff I find is me doing boots on the ground work. But once you have a reputation for that, people start sliding in those DMs, and I'll say a lot of people who think they're friends with other people, they really would just rather see chaos. So, they'll come into my DMs and just say, hey, keep my name out of this, but blah, blah, blah. So I've been just like, I've got a nice little list right now. Minifan Big Rich is a guy who I definitely know who he is, and it's very funny. I said this about Randall Stevens. Most people probably know. Most people probably know who Randall Stevens is. I've had my issues. If they don't,
I thought you were going with this. I was anticipating you dropping it.
If they, I'm not going to drop it right now just because Randall Stevens, he is a lunatic. And, at times I've been peaceful with him. He seems to think we're at war now, so I'm embracing war. Minifan Big Rich is the one that's more interesting to me because I said this about Randall Stevens, but it actually honestly applies more to Minifan Big Rich, where there's this strange disparity between who I know their real account is, and like they're cool with me on their real account. Everything's all chill. And then this other account, they get on and he didn't even really say anything bad about me, but I see him chirping Phil, I'm just like, man, it's a weird instinct for me for people to get on this other when they have an account already, get on this other one to do all their dirty talk. And so I'm just putting the warning out. All you pussies who do that, you make a new account just to talk shit. The Ted Sarandises of the world. I'm on your ass.
Does Ted Sarandis have a different account?
Oh, yeah. Because you can see, like, when it's created, you can go back to their first tweet, and they're just completely literate in KMS world stuff.
I'm not, listen, I'm speaking for a lot of people. I'm not a fucking internet, journalist.
Yeah.
Detective.
I can't give up my strategies, but just, like, linguistically, like the same way they caught the Unabomber, like he uses certain phrases.
Okay,
like
fair.
I can if I see a guy use a certain phrase, I could search my Twitter and be like,
look up the pattern.
Which Minifans out there have used a phrase like, for example, one I looked up recently is someone said to me like, oh, you're playing patty cake, you're trying to play patty cake with me. So I do a little search. I'm like, who uses
Google
that?
The name patty cake.
It's not that common of a phrase to use. So I'll search it on Twitter and I'll see like, oh, this person likes to say
that. Is great. There's a lot to that. I bet
there's a lot to it, and that alone isn't enough hard proof, but it can reaffirm
to plant the
certain
seed.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not in any of these private threads just because they're a waste of time to me. I like to just keep my stuff in the open, but I have roots in all these private threads. So if you think you're safe in a private thread, just know that someone in there is probably going to sell you out to me.
Do you have roots in ours?
Which one? Is it the one the name you can't
thread.
say? I did when I was interested in it, but I haven't. I have no issues.
I pinned Barry during a Cold War. I thought Barry Sharp was a mole for you.
No, but he would be. He'd be the first guy I would go to.
To get on the
okay. So he's the weak link. He's the weak link
for sure. Definitely is. Okay, so I was right on that. Okay, yeah. Good instinct. I was like, I can't. Barry be the one. If you really want to read something, I think it would be Barry Sharp. That's funny. That's pretty good though. That makes sense. I would never think of that, but that's easy. I mean, look at that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, because I have a couple Minifans muted. I have Dick Trickle, Grover. I have Killer Kowalski toes that fine line, but I don't. Out of respect to Killer, because I like Killer, he stays. There's like two more who are muted. They're escaping. Randall, and then Sigmund for going to whatever the fuck he is.
You got yeah.
They could take the victory lap on this. Yeah, you guys annoyed me to the point where I ignored you guys or muted you guys. That's fine. But it's funny when he tweeted that earlier. Like, hey, I might release this thing. I was like, oh, that'd be fantastic.
It's my new favorite game, and all I'll say is, Minifan Big Rich, if you're out there, just reach out to me. you know, I kind of put that tweet out there where I was like, I got $1,000 on each of these accounts. Like, I'm going to ruin their lives. You know, to me, it's a joke. I know not everybody like hears the tone that I'm doing it in, where it's like, clearly I'm just trying to be absurd, and I've gotten to the point where I don't care if people are misunderstanding what I'm doing. So then that guy, Minifan Big Rich, like DM me, was like, how could you possibly call for the public doxing of someone? Like, Jesus I'm gonna call Kirk and tell him you're doing it. Like, I'm messaging Kirk and he's gonna freak out on you. So you know, yeah, very funny. And since he doesn't know, I think he doesn't know that I know who he is. He probably will after this. And even right before this show, like, it's just funny. There was diversions he was trying to do, like, that I could just, the more they try to cover it up, the more obvious.
The more it reaffirms your initial suspicion.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's great. I'm having a lot of fun doing that.
Did you ever investigate me for having burners?
No, you're not a burner guy. Like, I'm the same way where it's, I have other accounts so I can see
have to have burners
blocked from
shut down.
But yeah,
exactly.
I'm never trying to like hide. You're gonna know it's coming from me.
I don't want to call him a cunt on my main account. Let me go into my burner. No, we're calling somebody a cunt on the main account, and that's why we need a burner.
Yeah,
two different things.
Very two different things. Quick shout outs. I want to give some shout outs to the Bat Boys doing their thing. We kind of covered it earlier. Phil McCooch, great call. It's the importance of having callers who are going to challenge the show, challenge Dave, challenge Kirk. It's like every now and then you get a call where you get some results, and, you know, drops make the show better. So I've gotten through my list of notes. I don't know if there's anything else you want to cover.
No, it was a good time. I was waiting for this to happen. Like I said, during our Cold War, there's a couple things that like would pop up, and I would always want to have you come, have you on, but inviting you want to be an admission of guilt. So or not even get admission of guilt, but like me kind of bending the knee. So I'm glad we're at a good point now where we can do this again, because I think it's easy to talk to you. We have like-minded minds where we both think similarly. We're fine on the same cylinder. So it was good. I had a good time.
Yep. All right,
I was going to do this game where I doxed Robinson's rules like inadvertently throughout the show and just like said like personal shit about him, because I think I would find it funny, like the gambling chat would find it funny, but I didn't. So shout out to me for being
Robinson rules is a real loser. That's what I'll say. Big time.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you did what I wanted to do right there pretty well.
All right, I'm gonna play this Big Steve clip to take us out. That's all I got from Minihanedom. I'll see you guys next week. Fuck Manners, you little Australian shitbag.
VD, you want to be my show? You'll never be my show, VD.
All right, here's a clip. Peace and love to all. Thank you for coming on, Montante.
Thank you.
Myself on this one. Nobody watches.
How would you know?
Nobody watches a fucking movie.
An hour and a half porno is a long.
Who watches a movie?
I think that's the kind of porno that just
porno.
Like it plays in the background in an orgy.
You would know. I have no idea. I actually don't know that. Jesus, what?
Does it now?
What are you talking about?
If you're having an orgy, you just put a porno on in the back.
Sure. Do you need to?
Why would you need that in the background of an orgy?
Set the mood.
But you're already in an orgy. You just said.
What are you basing this off?
What mood are you setting? You said you're already in an orgy.
You don't think they play porno at orgies?
I don't know. Porno. That porno. I don't know what that.
Okay, so sit down. Plan your orgy for me then.
Sure, I'll do the best I can.
Plan an orgy for me that doesn't involve playing porn on a big screen.
Well, for me, it would be impossible because I don't drink. It would be impossible to do an orgy.
Oh, that makes
sense. Sober.
Yeah.
Drop a little X.
Yeah, but that's
drop a little X.
Okay, let me score some X and get my orgy going.
Still the problem.
I feel like there's still drugs and drinking involved at that point. No?
No. I think you could find some ways